You look at all the crypto wildcat banks, and they were pretty much running unregulated hedge funds, making massive bets, massive loans, undisclosed, taking in retail money deposits, and then they implode and they lose all the money. What could go wrong? Right? The answer is the industry's got to grow up.
Yeah.
Right. And the industry is going to grow up, right? One way or the other. The regulators are behind. But at the end of the day, just keep in mind the basis of securities laws are biblical. They go back thousands of years. Hammurabi's code even. The basis of securities laws are thou shalt not lie, cheat, or steal. That's the basis of the law. So saying these are antiquated laws from 1933 that don't apply to crypto, that's kind of it's a dead on arrival argument. The law is don't lie, cheat, or steal. It's just instantiated in different years and different places. And so the future of the industry is going to have to be based on an ethical foundation, an ethically sound foundation, a technically sound foundation, and an economically sound foundation. And as you can tell, right, I think Bitcoin is economically, technically, and ethically sound. You've got a million reasons why. We could talk about it for thousands of hours. If you want to build a business in this industry, you need to be inspired by those three principles. And the simple thing to do is just use Bitcoin as your token, and then build on top of that monetary protocol and on top of that monetary asset. But if you're not going to do that, you definitely have to think long and hard about the economic, ethical, and technical implications of what you're doing.
Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, MicroStrategy CEO and long-term Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor updates about his thoughts on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and other altcoins. Saylor explains all the use cases of Bitcoins and why holding some Bitcoin is integral in times of financial crisis. Michael Saylor also reveals if there is any pressure to stay Bitcoin only as other cryptos are gaining ground in the market. Make sure to stick around till the end of this video where Michael Saylor addresses the issue of Bitcoin volatility and things to do in a bear market. So without wasting any more time, let's dive right into the video.
What if I actually sold you a watch or sold you a car that had money embedded in it? Let me give you another idea. I give you a watch, I put enough Bitcoin in it that the watch generates the equivalent of $100,000 a year, increasing with the Bitcoin economy. It's a perpetual watch that makes you rich forever. You just have to wear it. You understand what I'm saying?
I like that idea.
Like if you're
sign
not,
me up, man.
now if you're not creative, you're like, okay, well, how do I make a car run forever? Well, I have to put a battery in the car that holds enough energy to make the car run for 100 years. Well, there is no such battery, right? Batteries lose 2% of their energy a month at best, right? So the energy loss in a battery is 24% a year. The half-life of energy in a battery is at best is 3 years, maybe 1 year, okay? What's the half-life of energy in Bitcoin? Well, it's forever, you see? So if I take the electricity that I would use to run the car for 100 years and I put it in the car, I'm going to lose it because of depletion. But if I take the same energy and I sell it to the grid, take the money, buy the Bitcoin, attach the Bitcoin to a chip in the Tesla or in the car will run itself forever. Okay, like this is a product. Now, it's a kind of a bizarre idea, right? Energy embedded in a car that makes the car self-charging for 100 years, right? Or at least for free. But what if you applied it to a life insurance policy? Right? So you want to buy life insurance, you give me money and I invest it in what? Bonds that yield 3% interest in the face of 8% inflation? That's a crappy life insurance policy. So what if you give me money and I invest the money in Bitcoin? right? What can I do with that? Well, I can either pay you 10x as much money on the back end of the policy, or I can cut the premium by a factor of 5. So layer 5 is products with digital energy embedded in them. And layer 6 is services with digital energy embedded in them, and like an insurance policy.
Shortly after EV manufacturer Tesla disclosed it had sold 3/4 of its Bitcoin holdings, MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor took to Twitter to publicly do the math. If you sell 75% of your Bitcoin, you only have 25% of your Bitcoin left, Saylor tweeted. The MicroStrategy CEO appeared to be poking fun at the announcement from Elon Musk company that it had traded 75% of its Bitcoin holdings for approximately $936 million in fiat currency over the past few months, as revealed in its Q2 earnings report.
I think it depends on where you live. For example, if you look at what's going on right now in Argentina, the currency's collapsed by 50% in 12 months. The blue dollar rate is 270 pesos to the dollar, and it was 15 pesos to the dollar 4 years ago. In that case, the killer app is like the ability to maintain digital property on your phone and self-custody it so you don't get poor. And I think that there are already calls for them to dollarize, right? But I think a wallet you can trust that will hold a large supply of currency like dollars and property like Bitcoin, that's a killer app for 8 billion people. So I think the obvious thing to do would be for Apple, Google, or Facebook to build that wallet into their device. And probably Apple is the company that could build it most effectively, because Apple already has a secure element in the phone, and they control the entire chip stack of the iPhone. And if you want to create something which is really safe and easy to use that people trust, you kind of have to control the silicon layer, the operating system layer, and the application layer, and the cloud layer. And Apple has those. The closest company to competing with them is, say, Google. But Google doesn't control the hardware and the chipsets to the degree that Apple does. So it's like a Google Samsung production. And then, Facebook, they could become, this could be a strategy for them, but they kind of have gone the opposite direction. Instead of actually building Bitcoin into Novi and giving it to 1 billion people, which they probably should have done, they kind of, tried to create their own currency with Libra, and it crashed and burned, and then they shut down Novi and gave up. Oops, not good. But I think that the obvious application is a digital wallet for 8 billion people where you can hold a currency and a property.
One of Bitcoin's loudest advocates, Saylor, has repeatedly emphasized MicroStrategy's own commitment to Bitcoin, even as the crypto market slumped in 2022. The software manufacturing company owns 129,699 Bitcoin, worth around $2.9 billion at its current price. Saylor has stated that the firm structured its balance sheet so that it can continue to hold Bitcoin through adversity. MicroStrategy has continued to buy the dip during the crypto bear market in June. Saylor revealed that the company had bought another 480 Bitcoin for around $10 million, at an average price of around $20,000 per coin.
So what would you say to someone who says, well, why don't we just continue to use a digital stable coin like a USDC or whatever else might be out there? And yes, we've got, 8-10% inflation or more, but that's better than a 70% drop right now. And at least I kind of know what I'm going to be paying for a loaf of bread tomorrow in Venezuela.
Yeah, so I think that you got to think of money as a currency component and a property component. And the currency is the medium of exchange that you're going to use to pay your day-to-day bills. And that's a government monopoly. Every place there's a nation state, they're going to control the currency. And then the property is your long-term store of value, right? Whether it's your ranch or it's your collectibles or whether it's your company stock or whether it's Bitcoin. The cutoff, the clear theoretical cutoff, I think is 4 years. Like you want a really safe cutoff. Look at the 4-year moving average of Bitcoin. If you have money that you can afford to put away and hold for more than 4 years, you would be foolish to store it in a currency. Like even the strongest currency world, the dollar is the strongest currency in the world, but you would be foolish to store money for more than 4 years in the dollar. So I think that you look out and you say, well, stuff I've got that I want to hold for 4 to 40 years, I have to put in a property portfolio. And we're just going to debate whether you should buy a building, buy a company, buy a Bitcoin, buy a bunch of, art, right? That's another story.
Tesla and Musk have had more on-off relationship with Bitcoin since the company bought $1.5 billion worth of cryptocurrency in February 21, after Saylor offered Musk on how to purchase Bitcoin. The move sent Bitcoin's price rocketing to $43,000, an all-time high at the time, as Musk took to Twitter to champion Bitcoin and Dogecoin. At the time of its investment, Tesla announced that customers would also be able to buy its cars with Bitcoin, but a few months later, the company reversed its stance, citing the cryptocurrency's high energy consumption and environmental impact. However, the company said it would continue holding on to its Bitcoin and would reinstate Bitcoin purchases when mining transitioned over to using more sustainable energy sources. A week later, Musk tweeted diamond hands emojis, typically used by investors to suggest that they're in it for the long term. Today, Saylor posted the same series of emojis in another apparent reference to Musk. On Tesla's latest earnings call, Musk explained the company had sold its position in Bitcoin because of the financial turbulence caused by lockdowns in China. He said it was important for us to maximize our cash position. Musk also said he and Tesla are open to increasing the company's ownership of Bitcoin in the future and that Tesla has not sold any of its investment in Dogecoin. On the call, the billionaire emphasized that cryptocurrency is a sideshow to the sideshow for Tesla. This should not be taken as some verdict on Bitcoin, he said. We're neither here nor there on cryptocurrency. So what do you think about Michael Saylor's thoughts on Cardano and Ethereum? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video, and thanks so much for watching.